We're good to go.
All right. So this is here we go, guys, ladies, from the inside out with Ronnie on the spot, Chris Kurtz and the Sandman. So tonight I'm going to address a few things about people being butthurt, wearing their feelings on their sleeves. Um, I'll be as cordial and nice about it as I can because here's the get down. I was explaining about back in a time on a yard how the whites would never give a certain race a kite to take to another race to have their own race get hit. It was just wasn't heard of. And in doing so, I was using the language that they would have used. I was giving it all its due. And I was looking, like I like to tell the story as realistically as I can. And I said, so they would never, and their mindset was take a kite, give it to a toad, which is what they all called the blacks back then, to carry out to a Mexican to get a white guy hit. It just wouldn't happen. So what happens though is the guy that I'm calling out on his bullshit and his little nut hangers, right? Want to make it about anything about other than the fact that they're full of shit. You know? I was surprised he spit the dick out long enough to fucking, and this is Dubs, long enough to make a comment. But good on him. You know? Maybe when he finds him nuts on his chin next time, he can spit the dick out and make another comment or just keep on sucking. I don't know, whatever suits him. But I'm talking about 16 to life and chill. Okay, so he addressed it. I didn't watch it all. Somebody was showing it to me. I said, save it. Because you know what? I'm not going to keep getting in this back and forth. I know it's good for ratings, but there's other things I want to do. So I used the term that would have been used by those guys at that time in the middle of that story. And I will continue to tell stories on here as realistically as I can. I'm not pulling punches because people wear their feelings on their sleeves, man. I have black friends, Mexicans, North, South, in between, all of that. I don't care out here. And by the way, all those guys saying, oh, you can't walk the GP. Let me tell you something. This is GP out here. This is the real GP. I did everything I could to get here. I didn't tell on nobody. I didn't raise my hand and run off the yard. That's not what I did. But telling the story, it did get in. A few people found it offensive, or maybe they got offended by it. And I'm just telling you, you shouldn't have. Because if you don't get offended by a movie you're watching that uses the word nigger in the middle of it, then I don't think you should get offended by somebody else who's got a platform like this telling a story and using everything they can to give as much credence to what they're saying. Okay. So if I would have said, yeah, there's no way them white guys would have gave a kite to these wonderful black people to bring it to these most excellent Mexican lowriders on the yard to give to the other white guys so they could have this piece of turd white guy hit. I'm sorry, that's just not good for ratings. It's not good for views. Now am I up here saying, hey, 16 to life, you're a toad? No, that's not my view. All right. Am I up here saying that when I tell a story, I'm going to tell it the best way I can to get as much weight out of it as I can to convey the story in the way that I want to. Now, whether or not somebody puts some weight to that or takes it for what it is, I mean, that's on them. It's not on me. You know, that's a you problem. You know, if you can't get behind the fact that these stories are told in a certain way, but you're okay with Beverly Hills doing it, you're just not okay with this form. Well, I'm not okay with that. All right, this might get down. And I told everybody I'm a realist from the word go. Okay. This is the way it is. Now, I used to, I just look it over now. We all know what the term white boy is, how it started, how you guys started using it. You took the negative, disrespectful aspect of the word boy from the history it had with you guys and applied it to white boys like that. And it was a disrespectful term. Just like the young blacks of the day took that word nigger and they turned it into my nigga and all that, and they stole it. They stole the thunder. Now it's not disrespect. They got it. They stole it. They took that word. They stole the talk. All right. And that's the same thing the white dudes did. Was they said, okay, you're gonna try to assign this term boy to us. Come here, boy, and all that, right? And they just said, okay, we'll just be white boys. We'll embrace it. Now it's not derogatory. What now? So both races were pretty smart in going about stealing the thunder from under what was trying to be done with those words. It's a pretty slick move. And it is what it is. I, for one, I don't like the whole thing white boy. I'm a grown ass man. So you call me a white man. I'm not going to call you a boy. Come here, boy. It's not going to be like that. No, you're a man. I'm going to look you in the eye, white, black, or psychedelic, shake your hand. And if you're a grown ass man, I'm going to address you as a grown ass man. It's just the way I am. It's how it is. But I'm also going to tell my stories the way they were at the time, the way it is, to get the most out of what I'm saying, to convey my message the best way I can. If people took offense to it, well, it wasn't meant that way. Okay, it wasn't meant to be offensive to people watching this. Where would I get? What would I get if I wanted, like, I am offensive to dubs for a particular reason, you know? And people are saying, oh, you're a dropout, you're this and that. Well, look at here, partners. I'm going to go ahead and share this with you. These right here, these are my parole plans, all right? When I left CDCR. Now, I had a special condition on number 13 that I wasn't allowed to be around any gang members. And then it goes into here and it's a description, right? And it says reason for the code. The reason for the code. Offender is a validated gang member, has a documented history of gang involvement, activity, and association, and or current or prior conviction of Penal Code 182.5 and 186.22. And it's right there. I paroled active. All right. And you guys, and so you're telling me that, oh, because when the yard flipped from mainline to 50-50, I chose to kick it and go home, and I didn't go to GP. You're fucked up. This is the real GP. The GP's out here, not in there. So your mind is twisted, all right? And the people that I know and fuck with on all levels supported me going home, all right? And in turn, I support other dudes going home. And you can address things on the comment section any way you want to, because people got a term for it. They call you keyboard warriors, right? I don't care. I call you irrelevant, really. But I'm addressing this here tonight, and I'm addressing it because it gets views. Bottom line. They like to hear this stuff. So there's that, and I'm done with that. And so the whole thing was this, is that what was said wasn't meant in a disrespectful fashion. It wasn't meant in a derogatory fashion. It was meant in the mindset of the story that I was telling at the time about the way people thought about each other in that moment and how they never would have done that. And that's just that. That's as far as that goes. And there'll be guys get on here, oh, you cleaned it up. And I didn't have to clean it up. It wasn't dirty. I just got in here and told you the real. So, save it. You don't see no broom in my hands. And then we'll call all you guys out talking about you're getting out and you're giving back to the community. And fuck you. You got a fucked up idea of what giving back to the community really means. All right? It doesn't mean just staying out of prison. You're not giving back to the community because you're not taking from the community, you're giving back. Your mindset's fucked up too. Giving back to the community means taking time out of your life to do something that benefits the community. And holding a podcast doesn't do it unless you take a portion of that money you make and you give it to the community and programs. You give it to at-risk youth to keep them out of prison. You give it to victims of child abuse. You give it to victims of sexual abuse as kids and adults. You give it to women who have been battered. Oh, wait a minute, because a lot of you dudes are the ones beating your wives already. So you're going to give it to battered shelter. But me, there's my nonprofit, okay? I'll read you a little bit. It's from the IRS, Department of the Treasury, Internal Revenue Service, tax exempt and government entities, okay? Speaking truth about recidivism, STAR. That's my nonprofit. I give back. We're pleased to tell you we determined you're exempt from federal income tax under Internal Revenue Service, IRC, Section 501c3. Donors can deduct contributions they make to you under the IRC Section 170. You're also qualified to receive tax-deductible bequests, devices, transfers, or gifts under Section 2055, and so on and so on. Nobody that does anything for me, all right, takes a salary. I don't want you. You're not giving back to the community when you start asking to get paid for it. all this stuff I'm doing, I owe society. I owe the community because I've taken from them. I've made them pay for me to be in prison. I've done things to people that should have never been done. And I can never atone for the shit that I've done. But you know what? I can help. I can make a difference in what tomorrow looks like for somebody, some kid, somebody in their life. And you people that are on here trying to downplay that, it's because everything you get and you make, you put in your pocket, and you can't produce nothing that says you do anything different with it. And then this dude Dubs with our back and forth. I like the ratings. I've never lied about that. I'd like to steal all his viewers. I've never lied about that. I've always known him as John Daniel Villa, all right? Went from Ironwood S&Y Yard to San Quentin S&Y Yard. And yeah, this is me just talking. It don't make a difference to me. Like I said, he's in GP now. This is the real fucking GP right here, right now. This is where we're all at, all right? So, that's his name. I know where he's at. I know. I mean, I could go knock on his door. I'd rather see him in octagon. You know, I could go knock on his door. I could do all of that. I've already researched everything there is to know about this dude. All right. And I dug into him because he responds back, and guess what happens? I get the views. I love it. But I'm not getting into him with a lie. Okay. Getting into him with the truth. Period. And he can own it. Like I said, he's GP now. This is the real GP. You know, start giving a little something back. Quit stealing shoes from kids that are mentally ill, and start giving a little something back. Then you can claim, why are you getting it, Dubs? Because he's giving back to the community. No, just because you're not taking from the community doesn't mean you're giving back to the community. You have to give back. That's the difference right there. So I've addressed all of that. Is there any questions up there?
Yeah, we got some questions, but hold up your GP paperwork again.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
They're saying your S&Y, so show them your, and go over it once again.
Okay, so that's my parole paperwork. All right, right there. Reading number 13. Offender is a validated gang member, has documented history of gang involvement, activity, association, and or current or prior conviction of Penal Code 182.5, which is a gang enhancement. Anyways, these were my parole conditions when I paroled, okay? And I haven't been back to jail since, and this is the get down right here. And I don't care what you have to say and what people are saying. Don't even bring those questions to me no more. I'll tell you why. Because they're lames. They don't know what they're talking about. You can read to them right off the paperwork about Dubs, and it's true. It's all a lie. That's bogus paperwork. And then when you bring to them paperwork that shows my status, oh, it's not true. You can't have it both ways, sissy. It's one way or the other. So save your questions, save your drama. Go and give it back to Dubs. I don't need it. I'm not after it. So don't bring me no more of that stupid shit.
Chris Curtis says, what's up?
What's up, big dog? Yeah. Okay.
And B saying prison ain't cool.
Prison is not cool. It's good to be out here in the GP. This is the real GP right here. I'm out here in it, loving life. So if you don't think that's cool, I got a problem with you. Now, I told you guys about two guys next to me in Soledad in O-Wing way back in the day, right? And what we did back in the day, and a lot of people can say, oh, you're giving up game. You know why you think I'm giving up game? Because you ain't got no fucking game. And you think this is new shit. It ain't. They already know about it. So I'm in the fucking O-Wing. I'm in the cell, and the guys next to me, I guess they want to be rappers when they grow up. And they choose the best. They think the best time is to do their rapping and banging on the walls and stuff is at night when everybody's trying to sleep, when I'm trying to sleep. I'm kind of new to the system, fresh out of YA, right? Low riding and all that. Not really giving a fuck. I'm going to shut these dudes up. I send a kite down. Hey, homeboy, how do I make a bomb? You know, I'm going to shut them up. And I get the kite back, tells me how. Now, anybody who was back in prison in them days knows that they used to get this. They used to give it out, top, right there in the chute, the tobacco. Inside that tobacco, you will find a thing called rolling papers, zigzag. They're there, okay? You get these to shave with. They used to just give them to you in your cell, these razors, until people start getting their throat cut all the time. But they used to give you these, all part of it. They used to give you chess games too, but the chess pieces you get would be about that big. I just found a miniature one to give you some idea. And then you had to have something to smoke your top with, right? So they would give you matches. Guess what, guys? That's a bomb. Because we would open up this razor. We'd take these matches, We'd scrape all that sulfur off. Big old pile. You can collect matches. Homies are sending it to you. They know what you're going to do. Big old pile of sulfur. That's gunpowder pretty much. So you got all that red phosphorus type sulfur right there in a pile. And you got all that going on. You got your chest piece. You got your zigzags. So you scrape all that off. Then you take the razor when you're done. You break it up into little pieces, as many of them as you can get. Okay? Break it up. So here's the top. That's what they used to give you. Okay? Here's the type of what's inside of them, the papers, but you could ask for papers too. They'll give you rolling papers. Then matches. They'll give you the matches. You used to get the matches. No problem. The chest set, while this is a little one, it's hollowed out. They used to give you a big one, which made a pretty good bomb, more like a M80, 200, something like that. But when you got, so what would happen is you scrape all that metal off. I mean, all that sulfur off of them matches. You pull a zigzag out like that. You wet that whole zigzag down. Put your sulfur on it. You twist that thing up. Now, there's your fuse. Twist it up. You got a fuse. You light it. That thing goes. So there's your fuse. Before you do anything, you break this little tip off. You put you a hole in the front here, and that's for that fuse to go down inside. You get that fuse down in there. Now you take your sulfur and you pack that chest piece that's hollow and big, and you just keep packing it, packing it, packing it. And when you get it all full and packed real tight, take them razor blades, you burn your pants, get the zipper off, pack that in there, right? And you get a piece of cardboard, stick it in there with some toilet paper, and then you tape the end of it all up real good, and you got it nice and solid. And there it is. So I took that bomb after I made it, and I reached around real slick-like, thought I was doing something, and I put it on the neighbor's fucking bars right there, and I'm going to blast them, right? Just so in my mind, I'm thinking this. Reach over, and I light that fuse, and boom, it goes. It rattles the windows, cracks a fuse, wham! That bomb goes off like a motherfucker. I was surprised. I was surprised it worked, if you want to know the truth. And what it did was the sulfur in the matches getting so red hot, when that metal came out of the back of it, they were red hot. And the dudes heard the boom. They jumped up. The red hot metal hit the floor, and I ended up giving them a real serious hot foot and making a lot of noise and breaking the window. That was my first experience with a bomb. I eventually got better and got more dangerous with them. That's how it used to work back in the day. Okay, don't tell me I'm giving up game. They already know about this, and you weren't around back in the day, so you don't know nothing. If you think I'm giving up game, it's because you don't have any fucking game. And that was how that used to go down. That's the kind of place the Department of Corrections used to be back in the day. You could lose your next breath before you got your next breath. It's just the way it was.
BRG, do you fuck with Southsiders?
I do. Absolutely.
Chris is saying it's worthless to sit in prison.
Of course.
Gas mask. Glad you were here with us, brother.
Likewise. I'm glad you're on the GP out here with us too, man.
105 people in.
Huh?
105 people
yeah.
in.
So we just showed you this. I mean, I wish, okay, so look, I was going to make it. I was going to light this sucker up and blow it up in here, right? And I was talked down off that cliff because they said it might ruin our channel just if I got on there making it. So I just did this. This is just entertainment purposes. Like everything else on the show, this is just, it's just informational, that's all, and educational, and I mean, that's how it was. And this was back in, let me see, I hit that cop in 81, it was 1981 in Owing when all that went down. And that's the kind of place it was, man. You could get bombed, it went from that. Eventually it got to these Johnny-come-latelys talking about this and that, and they're gangsters, and this guy was SNY, and this guy was YZT, and, the whole alphabet game. It eventually got to that, and they stopped throwing bombs at each other, and then it got to a point where the bombs they were throwing had poop and piss in them, and, things have reached a really disgusting level at this point, and prison never was the place to be, and it sure ain't the place to be now. This is the GP to be on. This is where it counts. This is where it matters, and you make it matter for the kids. You give, like I said, just not taken from society doesn't mean you're giving back, man. You got to do something. You got to make a difference. And don't say you can't. You see that kid out there on the streets acting a fool, 15, 16 years old, and you've been somewhere and you know something? Pull that motherfucker up. Tell him, hey, homie, come hang with me for a day. Come hang with me tomorrow. We got a guy, Johnny G, down in Orange County. He's a white guy. Good dude. Mexican kid out there. Choloed up, doing all the wrong things, right? heading in all the wrong places. And Johnny G owns his own car place, man. And he is a good dude. So what does he do? He's not taking from society. He's giving back. He takes time out of his day. He goes out and gets that kid and, hey, you need a job, homie? Gets him in there and he starts talking him off that cliff, that prison cliff he's on, that way he's heading. Is in that job, tells him, I'm not going to start you as a mechanic. I'm going to teach you how to be one. But you know what a mechanic starts as? First thing we learn is how to clean the shop. He takes that kid from right there and he rebuilds him and puts him on a different path. And when he's done with this kid on that different path, I guarantee you he's going to go find another. And he is going to make a difference to society, one kid at a time. And there's nothing that says if everybody that's listening and watching now can go out there and do the same thing, that we would make an impact on society. Not just in that kid's life, there's a ripple effect. You change that kid, you change a lot of stuff, you know? And yeah, basically, I know I've covered a lot in a little bit of time. It's my nature. Sometimes I get going and can't shut up. But
okay, A.A. Alvarez Jr. My cellie was NLR from Long Beach. He was Mexican now. Now he's from the South Side. Let me tell you, they're with the business. Jeremy Bell, much respect. Glad to finally see. Smash them likes from Abe Lavery. Double jab that screen, y'all.
All right.
Daniel Torres, you're not giving up game. That they don't give you that shit nowadays. I was in Folsom.
Right.
In 83, I had a C number.
Then you know. Then you know they would give you this stuff and they would make bombs there that would, I'll tell you, okay, San Quentin in that same year, the cop takes a guy to a shower and somebody throws a huge bomb out on the tier and it doesn't go off. So the cop locks the guy in the shower and makes a cardinal mistake, man. He comes back, picks that thing up, and it blows up. His ears are bleeding and he takes off running and he won't stop. The cops are chasing him down to the back, down the stairs, down across the bottom tier, up to the 5th tier, across doing all, and he won't stop. And he's just screaming, they got me, they got me, they got me. And he's running. These bombs used to be a serious thing, man, and they'd leave a mark.
Yeah. Jeremy Bell, I'm glad to finally see someone who's not full of shit.
Right on, brother.
Okay, let me see. Okay, so you're a joker, Diaz. What does it mean to debrief? I'm asking for a friend.
Okay, so, and this is the thing, right? You have a different answer for different times. Okay? There was a time, let's say back in the 70s and 80s, right? Where these dudes would debrief. You weren't going to a PHU or something like that. Them dudes had to hit a polygraph test to prove before they would let them over there. It was that hard for these dudes to go in these PHU and all that shit, right? Them dudes had to take polygraphs and debrief, and they sit in there. And this was back in the day. And anybody says that they weren't telling, I got news for you. Let me tell you, it's telling. And then it transferred to where, I guess, from what it's been, and I've been told this by COs and inmates and just a whole different array to where I think it to be true, or at least a good portion of it to be true. These guys would go in and they'd tell them, hey, we want to know about you. You start from how it all happened with you, and you tell us all about you. Don't implicate nobody else, and you go forward with that. However, I've always had a problem with dudes doing that because, listen, they go in, they do that. There's a little thing called conspiracy and the RICO Act. And anything that you say to those dudes when they're doing that gets used against their active ex-homies later on down the line for the RICO. So it was all bad. And then it switched. And I'll tell you what it takes nowadays for dudes as far as debriefing goes. They don't even require it. You can have a dude get in debt on a yard one day and be in SNY the next. Okay? So all these guys that are talking this high-powered game about SNY, here's what I don't get, right? It's that easy for somebody to go from the GP to the SNY. Why aren't they doing it every single day, every single minute, and getting high-powered people on their list? Why ain't that happening? That's what I'm saying. Is the game that serious? So obviously you don't have your finger on the pulse of what's really going on in there, because dudes of on these 50-50 yards are being told to stay over there and go home. They need them out there on the streets. It's money. It is what it is. You know, they got to collect their ends out there. They're ending up with just 4 or 5 GP yards, and they're slammed. And it's very difficult to do business and make a difference and all that, and make money from in there. So they're needing these guys out there. And at the end of the day, if you don't think it's about the money, you got these major tips letting people buy their way out of the hat for $500. Clean their shit up for $500. Not get out, put work in, not do any of that. $500, you're good, and they're honoring it. Okay? So whatever kind of hardcore program you think is going down and it's on, at the end of the day, it's only as hardcore as the money allows it to be. You do something that's putting a hindrance on their money, they're going to change the program. They're going to make it work because those guys ain't stupid and they're fucking dangerous. Okay? And they care about their money. Period. So don't think because you leave a prison system yesterday, you can say how things are today. You can't. Things change. Things are fluid. And they have to stay fluid or you don't make money. You don't make money, what's it all for?
There were rumors that people could buy their way back from SMI for 10 grand.
It's $500.
It's
it wasn't
500.
10 grand. It was $500, and maybe they had to pay that every month. I know it's a $500 mark because I just know it's a $500 mark. Them dudes were doing it.
Okay, so Shamrock Murphy, how do you feel about P9?
I love P9. I got a lot of P9 friends. Look, I'll tell you a story. Okay, so in OLR, Pete LaFontaine out of Orange County. All right, and you have P9 Wicked. All right, and I've known Wicked for a long time because I ran with his uncle Lloyd Butcher. We grew up together and all that. So me and Wicked like family, right? But it wouldn't have mattered because right is right and wrong is wrong. And here's the story. So P. LaFontaine robs Wicked's aunt, maybe even his mother, I don't know. And that's a violation right there. But he robs them, and they're slinging or whatever. And then Wicked convinces Pete that everything's cool. That don't involve him. That's none of his business. So Wicked from P9 tells Pete, I need a ride. I need a ride home. So Pete gives Wicked a ride. Wicked gets out of the fucking passenger seat and walks around like he's going to shake Pete's hand and fills him full of holes. Throttles him. Now, Pete's a big dude. All right? He's a mountain of a dude. All right? Pete lives. And that's what's bad for Wicked. But I was on the East Yard. I had the keys. And at the time, I had given the heads the unit keys on all the upstairs and the ride the unit keys on all the downstairs. And I did that to stop the conflict, right? I got tired of the conflict amongst whites with the heads and the ride. And P9 was a lot more like the ride than at that time than the heads were with the straight edge and all that going on. And so I did that, and I moved Junior from Sadistic Skin, who seemed to have everybody's ear, in the cell with me, and we kind of split that whole yard like that. Wicked drives up, and here's all this fucking commotion going on in the yard. Junior comes and gets me, and I know Wicked's there. So I know the ride is already contemplating hitting Wicked. They want to get at him. And I walked through all my comrades, right past him, went up to Wicked, and I gave that dude a hug and embraced him, told him I love you, brother, and went back and I told him all how it was. That's a personal fucking beat. It's as personal. It's between those two. They're going to handle it. And if they ever come together again. And the next time I seen Wicked, I told him, Pete's going to rearrange you in a funny kind of way, like a Mr. Potato, but all the parts are going to be in the wrong place, right? If he ever sees you again, he goes, yeah, I'm ready for that.
Okay, Frank Thomas is asking, can you talk about the Cubans in Atlanta USP in the 80s?
In Atlanta USP in the 80s, is that when the riot went down and they tried to
Tommy and everything?
Well, of course, they did go and get Tommy. And from what I heard was, okay, so when they went to, the cops said like this, and the governor and all of them said, because Tommy had, by that time, did a lot of crazy shit. Cops, killed cops, did all that, set off fucking, just he was like, their most wanted motherfucker. So they told the Cubans, you know what, this goes no further unless you bring us Tommy in chains. So they went and, they went and broke into the commissary. They got Tommy liked this pears and fruit a lot. So they got that. They broke into the medical. They got drugs that they knew would put him under. And they got him sedated pretty good to where he couldn't do much. And they chained him up and they told him, hey, Tommy, we're sorry, but this is political, brother. We have to do this. It's a political thing. It's not personal. From what I understand, Tommy never took it personal. He was like, he knows and he understands. And also in Leavenworth, there was a big thing. I'm not sure. I think it might have been the Cubans there too. You get to Leavenworth, let me see, A, B, C, D wing is still shut down from what the Cubans did to that. They tore that motherfucker up. And I know because I would go over from B wing, right? And the Cubans, they were trying to appease them, trying to keep them calm and stuff, right? So they would go over and they would give them big lockers where we just had little ones. They'd have big ones and wide ones, cush beds and everything. So they tore that place up, burned it up, and I'd go over there in my job. I'd be able to see them lie. I'd steal them lockers, man. And those were a good hustle. You get them big lockers, right? People were picking those up. But the Cubans, yeah. I mean, it was a political thing. They were trying to keep from getting sent back. And I don't know a lot about the culture and what's going on over there, Sheikh Alvear and Castro and all of that stuff right there. I think the Cuban people have had a hard way over there. And I'm not going to get into their politics because I just don't know, and it wouldn't be right for me to speak too much on it.
All right. Abe Lavery, precisely. Ronnie from the ground up. Sky's no limit. Give a kid a chance. White, black, or brown, 100.
White, black, or brown, it don't matter to me. I don't give them 100. And a kid, let me tell you what. Okay, so my programs for kids, they're faith-based, all right? But it's not any particular faith. I'm not pushing Christianity over being an Odinist, and I'm not pushing being a heathen over being a Muslim. The only thing I'm pushing is that, you know what, whatever your higher power is, I want you to use that to help you become a better individual, and I support you on it. And the goal is to keep a kid out of prison and let that kid have a family and let that kid never have to owe nothing to society to be given to society.
All right. MGM, how do you feel about white bulldogs?
I really don't. I mean, here's the thing, right? So, like I said, when I explain the stories and I use a certain type of language, I'm trying to emphasize a point. And that's one thing. But honestly, anybody that knows me at this point in time, I just don't care. I just don't care. I joke with Mexicans about Mexicans, and they joke with me about white guys and rednecks, right? I mean, it is what it is. I've gotten over the taking it personal, man. I'm just going to have fun with it. And you know what I see a lot on the internet too, and this inspires me, right? I see a lot of blacks, Mexicans, and other guys right now just proud to be Americans. They're just proud to be Americans. You know, if we got to change some things and we still got to work on some things, okay, well, let's do that. But that doesn't mean that where we're at now is so fucked up that you just got to disregard it. I don't care. Look, I was in the Army, right? And the guy that saved my life could have been a black guy. I think I was going to go back and tell him, no, you can't help me. You're black. He got me fucked up. Saved my life. I got something to do. You know? And it took me a long time in hindsight to realize how foolish everything is and how much of a control it is. You get in there, they brainwash you. They brainwash you with terms like toad, booger, bug, all these different derogatory remarks they make against blacks because they're trying to get you not to like them from the gate. And you know, whites have very few, they're the least numbered. They got a lot to do, and there's, you know, I'm not making excuses for their shit anyways, because things are changing now. In the feds, it's really different. In the feds, you can buy food off a black where he's doing a cook, but you know what? Here's the thing: is everybody watches everybody doing the cooking and stuff. You get a dude that don't wear gloves and do something clean, his own people will regulate. You know, so when you're over at the poker table and you're either running or playing poker or doing whatever in the feds, and a black guy comes around, his hustle is he's selling burritos and sodas and all that. The white guys can buy that. The white guy runs a table, he'll probably buy them for everybody there, including himself, and they're going to eat them burritos knowing they were done cleaning everything. California's just on a weird trip with it, man, and it's not working out for them because it's all getting took apart, dismantled, and put together the way they want.
Okay. All right, so this might be a response to another comment, but Malik is asking, how can you jump from the NLR to the South Side?
You know what? The ride was okay. Here's how. Now, if he was was he Mexican?
I believe so. The other
okay, so I don't blame him, and I'll tell you why. And I've addressed this before. NLR was I mean, okay, so I got a low rider shirt on. It's just it was our get down. It was our style. It's who we are. It's who I still am as far as being a rider goes, and the whole stilo that goes along with it, right? But we weren't just white guys from the beginning. We had Native Americans. We had Serenos that were, they're not Serenos now, but we had Mexicans that were part of it. And these dudes, when it came time, put in work for the ride. And then you had these dudes that eventually, these Johnny-come-latelys, worked their way up and thought they were going to change everything about what the ride was, make it a prison gang, right? And then when they made it a prison gang, they got people in their ear with, well, we have to strip anybody that isn't white that's in this, right? Because it was Nazi and it was pertaining to whites. And they started trying to take letters from these dudes that have earned them, okay? And a lot of them dudes said, you know what? Fuck it, here you go. And maybe that was his get down. I can't speak on it only personally, but you know, and so he went where he was embraced. The Southsiders said, hey, we recognize your work. Come on. And they loved him right. And so that's what he is now. I don't get up here and say, yeah, a rider, so the ride never does no wrong. Man, we were a big entity at one time, man. We did a lot of wrong. You got one place where dudes were running things so fucked up, pressuring their own kind, robbing the kitty, getting high off the kitty and the money and all that. And then the other yard, somebody be running everything to the letter, to the T, collecting the kitty, sending it to the back, you know, breaking it down. I mean, when I had the keys in several places, especially in Chino, every morning I'd come by with a ball of coffee and a rollie for each dude in the cell. I'd go to every white cell. Then at night, right after dinner, I'd go and drop a cigarette off for every white dude in there. And I'd do that. And so you got guys run things different way. And so that's why I always have a difficult time saying, oh man, this dude's right and this dude's wrong. Because if I wasn't there at that moment on that yard, things are very fluid. Two people with two opposite stories, two conflicting, totally opposite stories, could both be telling the truth. Because you have this fluid thing called time and placement. You know?
Okay. Chris Curtis is saying PDS has changed a lot. He grew up with most of them. Okay. Accountability first is asking, how's the spider bite?
Man, hey, okay. Dig this. I got chills. The red line started running up my leg. I got chills. That spider almost took me out. And I've been through a lot. Shot, stabbed, and set on fire. And it was going to be a spider that took me out. Anyway, and some people have some negative comments. I wish he would have got you. Yeah, well, he didn't. Yeah, well, I smashed him. Anyways.
We're not in Australia, brother.
Yeah.
You know?
But he put it on me, man. It's still a little sore, you know, and but I'm on antibiotics and everything else, and I got it covered up so the pants don't rub on it. And last night I put some hot shit on it, and it started to drain. And so the chills are gone. Isn't there a song? The chill is gone. The chill has gone away. No, the thrill is gone. It's the thrill is gone, right? Yeah. Right. I knew that. Anyways, yeah. But yeah, it's doing better, man. The chills are gone and everything, so I'm not internally sick. So now it's just cosmetic shit.
Chris is saying, I remember in the 90s, Corcoran, this Mexican asked, you want to be a Southsider. So was that a common thing? If a Mexican ran with the whites?
See, I'm probably going to get a lot of responses for this, right? So you have a Mexican, right? And I once had a mobster tell me, you know, how do you think I feel? You know, my half of my heritage is white. Okay. You don't get to be a Mexican without some white, because the Spaniards are light white. The majority are blonde and all of that. They're light white. That's why you have whole cities in Mexico that are blonde and blue, right? And so when people ask me, what do you think about whites being a Southsider? They're already white. They wouldn't be Mexican. They're not white. They're Latinos, but they do have that bloodline. You know, that it's just when you get into genetics and start breaking everything down like that. But to me, all of that right there is things have been so disoriented. The government uses these things and these terms in ways to divide us. period. Because if they can keep us divided, they can keep us from looking at them. They can keep us from striving to change what they're doing and look for a better place for us to live in. I mean, it's just who they are. I mean, okay, so you get people out there, white guys, that say, I'm an Irish American. No, you're not. Irish is not in the blood. It's not a race. It's a nationality.
Yeah.
Okay. So unless you were born in Ireland, I'm sorry, you're not Irish. You may have history of family members that their nationality was Irish. That made them Irish. If you were born in the United States of America, you're an American. Period. Not an African American, not an Irish American, not a Mexican American, not an Asian American. You guys are all Americans if you were born here. That's your nationality. Now, your race may be something different, and that takes you all the way back into Caucasoid, Negroid, and Mongoloid species, the three main derivatives. Anything is a derivative of that, but I don't get into all of that. I went to school for it, and who knows whether maybe they're lying to me. You never can trust them damn books.
No, it always tripped me out that they would put, like I'm Italian, right? I'm also Native American, Chickasaw, and Choctaw, Native American, Italian American, but why isn't an American Italian or American Indian?
Well, you're not. So nationalities, if you're born in America, that's the only nationality you got.
American.
Yeah, American. That's your nationality. The American culture is your culture. Now, it's a melting pot of a lot of different cultures, but it is your culture. You're an American. That's your nationality. You may not like it, but guess what?
I love it.
You were born here. Eat your fucking mush and hush. It's who you are.
Okay, so I believe that all Americans, when they're young, should go to Mexico or something. I went to Jamaica when I was in 4th grade. I saw what a third world country was, man. And I don't mean no disrespect, but it made me a lot more appreciative of where I am.
I really, you know what? I really don't want to get into ethnic stuff and politics and everything, because there's no way to be right in politics. There's no way to be right with the racial stuff. You're always going to offend somebody, whether you mean to or not. And I'm big on this. I own stuff. If I offend somebody, not meaning to, even if I didn't mean to, you know what? I do apologize for that, because here's the thing, Ronnie, if you're offending a large group of people, then choose better words. Even if you're trying to tell the story, choose a better way to put emphasis on what you're saying. Don't think that I don't take into account people's responses and adjust my behavior accordingly. I'm always going to be a work in progress. And I'm always going to recognize the parts of me that have made mistakes and correct that as I move forward. That's just, like I tell you guys, I'm going to be real on this thing all the way down the freaking line. I'm pretty happy with the individual I've become, and I'm pretty happy with the individual I know I'm going to be in the future.
A. Alvarez Jr. I don't know if this is a statement or a question. There's a difference between South Side and South Sider.
I mean, you're splitting hairs, but yeah, okay. So look, and I'll tell you what I know. An old veterano pulled me up one time in bed. He told me that a Sereno was a warrior for the mob. Southsider was something different. Okay, and so he went down the line breaking this down for me, and it ain't my business. I don't know for sure the validity of all of that. And like I said, things are always fluid. What might have been a fact 10 years ago may not be the same today. There could be different definitions for terms that are being used to identify people and whatnot. So I can't really say one way or another. I just tell you what I know, what I've heard, what I've been told.
So mid 2000s, someone told me there was a difference between a Southsider and a Sereno, like Sir. So like they were the warriors. Southsider was on the street. I don't know, dude.
No. Here's the thing, right? Is that it's, like I said, things are fluid. Things are always fluid. One time, you're a gang member. You're required to embrace that. Pretty much make a sign that tells everybody what you are. Next thing you know, they hit people with a RICO Act, and everybody's like, "Zip it up! It don't exist. We're not none of that. I'm not this or that." And they don't want to get hit with the RICO because proving you're a part of that organization is a big part of it. And so, if you're telling people what you are, then that takes one point out of what they have to do to hit you with a RICO. But for the most part, when you're part of one of them big tips, copping to be in that isn't going to affect whether or not by the time they get ready to RICO you, they got you. They got people telling on you. They got you 9 ways of Sunday.
You're a Joker Diaz is saying, man, that's game right there. Thank you. Well, I think when you were breaking down everything earlier.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Thoughts? Okay, Barry Woods asking thoughts on an ex-NLR debriefer that posted links to another man's underage toddler out of spite. Do you know about that? I don't.
No, I don't know about that. But let me tell you something, man. There is nothing in this world that makes doing something to a kid like that right. And there is no gang or anything like that that is exempt from having dudes in there that end up doing some foul shit like that. You know, you've heard the saying, yeah, I knew you then doesn't mean I know you now. People change. They're fluid too. You may know a dude that 10 years ago was one way. You don't see him for 10 years and he's another way now. Yeah, I knew you then. That don't mean I know you now. You have to, when you got that much time without seeing somebody, you got to relearn who they are. This guy obviously was carrying himself one way at some point in time. And now he's doing something different, which some people would say that's always been who he was. He just hid it.
Chris is saying, Ronnie, Sandman, good night.
Good night, brother. It's 10 o'clock. I know you work hard, man.
Yeah, he gets up early, bro.
Well, he gets up early. He goes to the gym before most people are going to sleep. And then he goes to work for his job, and he gets off his job, and he goes to his side job. And then he comes home and he studies to get his contract. But Chris is doing things, you know, and I've heard people get on here and get the wolfing on him too. That's just what they do. Pretty sorry thing when that's all your life consists of. But hey, you go on being you. It's the negative stuff that gives me the material, right? I got things to respond to now. I'm over going, you know? Yeah.
Hey, but also Chris, he in between getting off work, he hangs out with his kid.
He's got a kid right now that he's doing the same thing. Yeah. He's training and working, getting all that. Yeah. Look, Chris is about giving back too. I mean, I should not have not mentioned all that. He, as busy as he is, he still takes time out of his life to give back. And he you know, and his wife too. She's heavily, and I'm not going to put out her personal anything. She's been to the joint and she is giving back to the incarcerated right now as we speak, helping them become better people so they can get out and stay out. Now, Chris is about the business when it comes to helping people, and he's passionate about it. And that's why he's in this gig with me, you know. And so is Junior, the first interview I ever did. Junior, yeah. That cat right there, man. I seen him get his heart broke by an Asian girl when he came out. He was working at a drug center because he's a certified counselor now. He came out and the Asian girl was in the parking lot, man, and it broke his heart. And he tried to he wanted to go and get her a tent and everything. She's out there and she was in a bad way, but you could tell that wasn't how she was brought up. She's homeless out there. And when he offered to give her all this stuff, she told him, you know what, I appreciate that, but I guarantee you, if you just walk a little further down the street, you're going to find people that need it more than me. And that broke him down. It was a humble thing right there. So if you look for good in society, you're going to find it at even places like that.
Brolin 627, is CRC no good?
CRC is getting ready to close down right now, so I don't know if it's good, no good, or anything. They're closing it down, though. I do know that for a fact. And it might be, I think CRC is a 50-50 yard. Look, man, here's the thing, right? So put yourself, and I'm going to give a shout out to somebody, because this man right here, he doesn't have a lot of people on his show or nothing, doesn't have a lot of followers or subscribers, but he's doing better than we are. But he gets less people viewing his stuff, and he's the fitness, what's it called?
He's a Southsider, right?
Yeah, he got ink, does it in the backyard in front of the.
He's always positive too. Yeah,
he's a fitness dude, right? Man. And man, I wish I had it on hand, because I give that dude a shout out and I'd plug his get down for him, because I'll tell you what, he's kept it real. down the line and real as you can. Like I said, nobody can ever get everything right because things are fluid. They have to do with time. They have to do with position in life and position on the planet. Things are different all the time. It's a fluid situation. So, you may be right for that time in that moment and be different. But this cat right here, and he's not said everything good about me. I mean, I'm not just trying to, but he has said he's kept it real. And that's all I ask of anybody. Keep it real. If it's the truth about me and it's the truth about the ride, I'm going to support you on it. I'm not going to say, hey, that's a lie just because it's about the ride. Hey, that's a lie because it's negative about me. You think I got that far in life being a perfect individual? I wouldn't be sitting here right now if I was perfect. I'd be filthy rich, stuck up, looking down my nose at everything. But there's flaws in my character, and if you point them out, like I said, I will step back, and I might not always get up here and say things about it, but I will address the issue on a personal basis and fix it. I'll find a better way in the future of putting emphasis on my topic than using words that people find offensive, except for Doug. He gets news, man. So I got to call him a few names and do all that. But I'm getting ready to get away from that too, because with my nonprofit, I got the paperwork up there right now. Like I said, I'm working with the state lottery and getting my raffle stuff. So my first raffle is going to be a brand new Harley Davidson, nice one. It's going to be a $2,500 prize because I can't give that cash out right there. They don't allow it. It's law. The $2,500 prize will be this. It'll be a 2,500 is the number. You pick the prize you want. It gets bought and paid for the 2,500. Get whatever you want as long as it's a prize and not a cash redeemable thing. You say what you want, give the list, the price, $2,500 worth of your shopping spree, and then the third place will be $1,000. And you never know, because some of these big companies, I'm getting at them to try to get stuff, stereos, whatever, donated, and whatever else they donate. I might be stuck in this thing for 3 days holding a raffle, giving away all these fucking prizes. You never know. So I'm getting licensed right now, going about that the whole right way. And I will be honest with you, straight up, the nonprofit itself is probably going to make about $70,000 off the raffle. All right. But however, that $70,000, like I said, nobody works on this nonprofit. It takes a dime. It all goes back into helping people. It'll go back into books for prisoners. It'll go back into doing things for the youth, even if it's buying baseball equipment so that these kids in an area can get at the park and play baseball. Yeah, that's what we're doing, man. That's it. So
coach, brother.
I'm gifted in sometimes being able to just find these little niches that allow me to make it the money in the bigger way. And this raffle on this level, because I went into the law and I looked it all up and I found my way to be able to get these things. And I found what I had to do to get licensed, and I found everything out. And I also downloaded all there is and about it. So now when I do get on here and do it, it'll be supervised by the State Lottery Commission. It'll be legal. It'll be above board. And for $10, you might win yourself a brand new Harley Davidson. And hey, look, after that draw for the numbers are that won that, and there's no drawing that doesn't have a winner, because every possible configuration on the balls that are in there will be on those lottery tickets to win. And don't ask me to break down the math on how to do it, but it's all there and it's all figured out. So somebody's going to win every time. But those are all going back in there. So you could win the Harley Davidson. You could win the $1,000 cash to go with it. There's your gas money. Go anywhere you want to go. It's just so you could win 100 prizes. You could win, whatever's up that time. It's going to be a really good get down.
And then you forgot the man's name, the Southsider, but I also want to give a shout out to Big Slugs. He's always been respectful and cool.
Oh yeah, but and his comments. Big Slugs.
Slugs. His channel is Slugs. He's the cat in Mexico makes donuts, and he's done a few reactions. But he's always kept it positive,
and he has kept it positive and cool too. And I give credit where credit's due, right? And the whole Dubs thing, I'm pretty much done with that. I've gotten all the traction I can get out of the negative stuff. I'm getting ready to move on to the more positive stuff. And I mean, if viewership starts to go down and subscriptions start to go down, I ain't gonna lie to you, I'll find somebody else to get after.
We got so much content coming, man. Yeah. We don't.
And there's a lot coming.
That's never been done before.
There's a lot coming, and I'll tell you my story this month, man. We had my son-in-law with his pit bull living with us, and this pit bull's been around 15 years, and it was his time. He had cancer. We had to take him in and put him down. It was a heart-wrenching scenario. And night before last, we have a little dog, a small dog, right? And I don't. He thinks he's a teacup Irish Wolfhound or something, right? But we also have a Dogo Argentino, which is they're killers. What they're bred for. But we have protection dogs. We got that and Cane Corso, and they're there for protection, and they know that's what they're there for. But we keep them away from everything, and pretty much keep a grip on them. This small dog had snuck past the mother-in-law out to the backyard and went and hid in an area. It was just kind of hiding in the sun. And he thinks he's going to get this dogo. So when we go out to bring the dogo up, we shut all the doors to make sure all the other dogs are safe. And nobody knows. And we ask, where's so-and-so? And somebody in the house says, oh, he's in the room. Shut the door. So we shut the door. The dog's not in the room. The dog's in the backyard. Now, this little dog goes after this dogo all the time, but he never gets to get a hold of her. Goes over to her kennel where we got the fenced off in the yard to where the dogo and the Cane Corso have their side, and the little dog has his side, right? He goes over there all day long. Sometimes he just barks at her, rah, 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 and just right in her face, right? Well, the dogo, my wife opens up the gate. The dogo and the Corso come out, and that little stupid, goddamn lovable dog, and I really loved that dog, man. That dog was attached to me. I'd go somewhere and he'd hide underneath the table and wouldn't do anything with nobody until I got back. You know, I'd go outside and he'd get on the stairs right next to the garage door. And he'd just sit there till I got back. And that little teacup Irish Wolfhound thought it was his time to get that dogo. And he bit her right on the eye. Her tail was wagging until he bit her. And when that happened, she snatched him up. I was in the shower. I could hear my wife screaming. I don't know what the hell's going on. I come running out, got my pants on wet. I come running out. And by this time, she's got the dogo underneath the patio chair, and the other little one's gone, and they're running in the bedroom with him. And he was ripped from right here all the way down to his mouth. Everything was showing, right? So we rushed him to the vet, and then the vet comes back and he says, "How old is this dog?" I said, "Well, he's 4 years old." He goes, "I don't know how it's possible because his whole jaw underneath here, up here, over here is just rotted out. He goes, I don't even know that we can leave enough of the jaw in there that you guys can do anything but feed him like that for the rest of his life." And we said, we don't care. Put a prosthetic jaw in there, right? And it started to hit areas, $10,000 and all of that. We were still going to do it, but we took him to the other place where they do the surgery because they didn't do it at the one spot. And they just came out and told us, you can't. There's no saving this dog. And it bothered me because I went in and this dog looked at me like I let him down, like he knew what was coming. So we put the second dog down. We're waiting on the ashes on Monday or Tuesday. And that's devastating, and that affects you. And then I get home to find that I've been bit by this damn spider, and in the middle of all this stuff, this fucking spider's just eating me alive, man. I wind up in the hospital behind that. I got chills and, But but so it's been a month. It's been one of them months, whatnot. And here's the thing too, the consolation or whatever it is you call it, the thing that they were telling us is that it didn't matter with what happened with him attacking the dogo and this happening. All this did was put light on a situation that was coming in a month or two anyways. And we were wondering why he kept his bones and different stuff and always went and hit them but didn't eat them. Now we know why he couldn't and why he always had bad breath. And to me, everything's a learning experience, man. If your dog has persistent bad breath, go down and have him checked out. There could be decay going on underneath there that's eating that jawbone away. And let me tell you something, losing a dog is going to hurt you more than you ever think.
So I didn't put that out. I just put the spider bite out. So
right.
That's
yeah. That's why I didn't come on the air last night. I didn't do it, and we had to postpone it and everything. And
I said when it rains, it pours, man.
Well, it does, but in my view, this is the thing, right? A full life is this. A full life for anybody or anything is from when it starts to when it ends. It's just what it is. We all have different times and different lengths, and that's a full life,
Okay, so I believe this is a legitimate question. OG smokers, is asking some real NLRs who got validated in the 90s. So how did this guy parole from a yard as a validated NLR?
Who?
I believe you.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, so anybody who knows, all right, I went to the feds. The feds don't lock you down. Every gang in the United States of America walks the lines in the feds. And there's guys here that will tell you that straight out. The feds, you don't get slammed, you're out there. They're very dangerous. Federal USPs, United States penitentiaries, are very dangerous places. So while I'm gone to the feds, California, everybody's getting validated and getting slammed. Before I get moved, paroled from Leavenworth, and moved from the federal system to the state system, they had already had a hunger strike and released everybody from the SHU, and people are validated and getting out. So that can be a legitimate question, or it can be whatever. I tend to think you're just trying to shoot at me, but yeah, you missed.
Okay, Dixon Sider saying Big Viking and the OC Woodpile sending respects, full blast.
Likewise, only.
Okay, let's see. So we answered the first part of this question. He added another one, MGM. How do you feel about white bulldogs / Fresnecks? I don't know a few Fresnecks, but
I know a few Fresnecks
they're wild,
too.
dude.
And I mean, you know, hey, I like I said, I don't want to pass judgment on anybody. You know, there's good and bad and everything. You know what I mean? And you do what fits you and what you want to do. And who am I to say what you're doing isn't good for you? I'm not trying to dictate to nobody anything but what they choose to be a part of. You know?
Okay. OG Smoker's asking, Ronnie, did you know Sticks and Irish from Dago?
I sure do. Yeah, Sticks was in Ironwood in the hole for a minute when I got called back by Wigmo and Zach, right, over some chick on the streets that was Wigmo's girlfriend that Joseph Lowry Blue was using as the whole transfer center and all that. I was 90 days to the house. I had to hit a child molester. Got back there. Bam, it wasn't supposed to happen 90 days to the house. Supposed to be somebody else. But I went back there. I got him up with Wigmo and Zach, but Homeboy was there too. And yeah, so I do know him. And yeah.
Okay. AA Alvarez Jr. I remember getting to Hatchby 3-yard 91. He just turned 18. He said it was crazy there.
Yeah, so the 3-yard to Hatchby. Well, I used to go, okay, so I'm originally out of LA, went up to IE and all that afterwards, and Victorville and all around San Bernardino. So I ended up going to West Valley stuff. But I used to go through LA County Jail all the time. And one of the spots people would go to from LA County was to Hatchby Reception Center. That's where you'd go. And it was a wild place, but usually you'd hit the yard there and they would slam me anyways. I had a history. But yeah, so that's where I met had Bakersfield Sellies, met all the Bakersfield dudes, you know, Baby Boy, Bobby Down Roberts, you know, yeah, Joe Brimage and that whole crew right there.
When did what was it? Kern became or Wasco became reception for kind of Bakersfield, Santa Clarita, all that area.
It was LA for a minute.
LA
for a while, yeah, LA for a minute. So I mean, that's how they all start out because LA has a lot
of
people to stand. But yeah. Oh, and you know what? I want to do something else here too. So anybody who knows Bobby Ray Shields, was one of the members of the tip for a long time. He was a high-ranking individual. Anybody says he wasn't, doesn't know squat. So Bobby Ray Shields, I'll tell you his story. Him and Danny Christensen are the ones in Folsom that were told to go down and go through this dude's intestines to see if he brought dope.
Oh, that was them?
That was them. And they went through the dude's intestines, got all the way to his pooper, and there was no drugs. He hadn't lied. He told the truth. But they were coming out. So the sergeant told the cop to say he seen them coming out of the cell. The cop didn't see that. The cop seen them down the tier. So the cop said, I seen them coming down out of the cell with blood on them. Well, you know what? It came out later that the sergeant told him to say that he didn't really see that. And they beat that case. And so Danny Christensen's family had the money to get the attorney. And who'd they have? That one that helped represent F. Lee Bailey. Yeah, so they had F. Lee Bailey, but that was back in his heyday, and they beat the K's. And anyway, so Bobby Ray Shields passed away a couple days ago in Bakersfield.
Wednesday morning.
Wednesday
right?
morning, yeah, I believe it was Wednesday morning. He passed away, and so anybody that knew Bobby, he was a short guy, spoke several languages, was real fluent in Spanish. All the Mexican guys loved him, and so just letting everybody know that he's no longer with us.
So I think AG missed the beginning of this. He's saying, I'm just starting the beginning of this feed. I mess with your content, Ronnie. But on all fairness, bro, you have to admit 16 to life, chill, had a right to feel offended. Dubs, on the other hand.
No. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying 16 to life, he did, but also I have the right to be given a fair shake on it too. That I really wasn't saying that in a way to attack people. I was just saying in a way to add emphasis to the point and clarity that I was making, that they would never do that. This was pretty much the way that their mindset was, the way people are conditioned to, the way they're brainwashed to get down in there. And they would have never done that. It was just another way of adding emphasis to it. Now, like I said, and I'll say it again, I always evaluate, how could I do something different to where it doesn't have that effect? How can I? Okay, so there's other ways to add emphasis, just like I did. I came in here and showed about the bomb and all that. Well, guess what that did? That added emphasis to the story I was telling. It gave some validity to it, gave some realism to it. So props are one way. So I have to evaluate a language and all of that, not get caught up in the moment and trying to convey things, and not use those words that people find offensive where I can avoid doing it. I'm still going to tell the story the best way I can, but I always evaluate myself with this content. I don't always get up here and put it out on blast and all of that. But you know what? I had spoken with this cat a couple times, or not spoken with him, but Sandman has spoken with him. There's some things went on, and I had heard good things about this guy. So I didn't want to be offended to him, and so if he was offended, like I said, I didn't mean that way. Okay, I'm not walking nothing back. I'm saying I didn't direct this, and I wouldn't mean this in a way that offended to offend people deliberately. I had nothing for you like that. And so if people were offended by it, I apologize for your offense. You're being offended by it. It wasn't meant that way. And I will evaluate the way I use terms to put emphasis on stories I'm telling, because I don't want to lose viewers because they're black. I don't want to lose viewers because they're Mexican. I don't want to lose viewers because they're whites and don't think I'm telling my story right or good enough. So I'm walking a fine line. Anybody does this knows it. And it is what it is. There's bad black guys, there's bad white guys, there's bad Mexicans, there's bad in everything, and there's fucking good in everything. My get down is this: I hope to find the good in everything.
Okay. Dixon Sider, what are your thoughts on Trojan from NLR?
Trojan. Man, I'm trying to place him. And you got to understand, I went to the feds, bro, for 13 years in the middle of everything when it was all getting hot and everything, but that rings such a bell. I can't comment on it.
Let's see. I went too far on that one. Hold on. Where is it? Okay, here it is. Denied youth. Hey, bro, I got a real question for you. Why you get on this internet
Go ahead, read it.
acting like an uneducated old man? You're really making whites look bad, which I personally disagree with this fucking take. But
why do you get on this internet acting like an uneducated young man? You're really making people look bad. My viewers look bad. And I don't want my viewers looking bad because you're an uneducated young guy. Beat it. In any event, yeah, any better than that. But
Ed,
by the way, I'm very educated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm paralegal. I got advanced degrees in law. I don't sit down here and blast them all over the thing. I can if you'd like to see it. I'm certified drug and alcohol counselor. a whole lot of things that I don't blast up there, but it's not part of this. It's part of my nonprofit. So the fact that you call me uneducated is very uneducated.
Well, I don't mess with people I can't have a educated conversation with.
Right.
Ed147 said, that's right, Ronnie. And then, where was it? Said, love from London. Damn it. That dude's always dropping comments, giving support.
Yeah, I like
man.
the London guy.
Yeah.
And I like him because he always says a positive thing about me. I don't know him, so.
Dixie Normus, man. He says, oi, oi, oi.
Oh,
He
right.
must be Irish. Who says oi, oi? It's Irish, right?
I don't know. There's heads
Yeah,
in
man.
sand, you know.
Okay, so Shamrock Murphy might be talking about the Bobby Ray incident.
Yeah.
Said the AB called that shot. Get the drugs out, though.
Oh, yeah. No, I'll tell you right now who called the shot. Blue called that. Norris called that shot.
Jeez.
Now, what happened with Norris? Look, let me tell you something about these tips, and I don't never really talk bad about them. There's good and bad and everything in my book, right? Some things are needed, some things aren't, whatever, you know. Blue was the Folsom guy for a long time. All right. Bobby Crane, New York, was the San Quentin guy for a long time. All right. And these are old school dudes, right? So you had them two cars going on. Back when there was only really 5 places, when they did a lawsuit in the Department of Corrections back in the day, they would include Folsom, San Quentin, Soledad, Tracy, and Palm Hall. Those were the 5 places they included in their lawsuits. All them things later on that you had the rights that to have the soap, to all of that stuff. Now it was Emery Rodriguez, or it's hard for me to recall the name of the case, but that was all earned back in the day by those dudes, and then they would deal with those 5 places. So, but yeah, Blue called that hit. I'll tell you exactly how it went down. They had, and it's just an unfortunate set of circumstances, but the dude was bringing in shit for them. And so they had that guy being watched in the visiting room to see if he did anything. Well, you know what? He made some moves that looked like he did hit. So the dude that was working in there came back and told the powers that be that, yeah, it's good. Well, guess what? The dude didn't hit. It didn't get brought. So they already got word from their worker in visiting that the dude hit. So when dude comes back and tells them, oh, I didn't get nothing, what do they think? Immediately, they're like, fuck that. And so the order came down, and Danny and Bobby Ray went in and did what they did. And it turned out that the dude never hit. He didn't have it. He was telling the truth. Now, it doesn't mean, and the other guy told them, yeah, but I don't know what happened there, you know. But yeah, so yeah, they were ordered to do that per se. It was their time. That was what made them dudes. It was their time to step up and do that. And then last time I seen Bobby Ray was in the hole in Kentucky, and he had came in. They weren't going to let him out to the line. He had a U.S. Marshal's number, and I was on the line for a minute. That was where the deal went down with the Aztecs. But some dudes came running to me like, "Hey, Ronnie, what's this right here?" And it's a U.S. Marshal number, right? Who is this guy? And I said, come on, fellas, Bobby Ray. They ain't letting him out. He ain't coming to this line. And I ended up getting into it with the Aztecas at that point, and I went back to the hole after I took the helicopter ride. You know, that's been on here, I talked about before. And then and Bobby Ray was across from me, and that was the last time I seen him.
This is a personal friend of mine from San Jose, Timo DeVell, San Aurel, new channel. What's going on, man?
Right on.
Thanks for tuning in, Timo, brother. I appreciate you. Malik is thanking you for answering his question.
Sure.
Timo says, Ronnie, I send mines.
Okay. So we're about winding this down right now, fellas, because I got a wife, everything at home. She's already going to be a little upset about the time and whatnot. We're an hour ahead of you guys. But anyways, and I'm an old guy, right? Like the guy said. He got the old part right. The unintelligent, uneducated. Yeah, he missed his mark. But you know what, I want to say this. All you guys that came on, I enjoyed it. I'm going to be keeping my program positive as I can for a while, because I'm trying to get my nonprofit done up. I'm trying to get some people help. I'm trying to get into some prison. Like, okay, so I'm in Solano, GP right now. My books are getting given to them dudes, and I go up in that prison with the visitor card on, and I go into the auditorium and I meet with those dudes, the groups, and all that, and I run that. And it's peer to peer, so they run their own program while I'm not there. And then once every 90 days, I go in and I validate everything everybody's doing, and it helps them get out. It helps them change. So now I'm going to Vacaville across the street here in the next month, and my program's going into Vacaville. And then next after that, about 60 days after that, I'm going into San Quentin. And then I have this thing going on with at-risk youth that we're getting set up and putting into that, and the raffles going on. So I'm going to try to keep it positive. So, I mean, really, just like I told Homeboy, don't read me the negative remarks, because I'm not trying to be negative for a minute. I got as much traction and ground and everything out of it that I think I'm going to get out of any of the negative stuff. So I'm going to be demonstrating a lot of things. I think that what we're going to do, I'm going to demonstrate deeper on this bomb deal with Soledad and actually put it together, right, for informational purposes and entertainment only, and actually put it together and whatnot, and then maybe even pull the fuse out here and light it so you can see the fuse.
Go out here and do some fireworks.
Yeah, but so I'm going to demonstrate that get down, and then I'm also going to show you how the zip ties work. And I seen a couple cats get zip tied, and it was ugly. So I got a couple of zip ties. I'm going to demonstrate that too, because I'm giving up game, and that's because you ain't got no game. But and then I'm also going to show how you could put me in a cell with nothing but a towel to bathe with and a bar of soap, and guess what? I'll turn that towel into a club that's as hard as any pipe you'll ever see, and do it quickly. So I'll show you how that works. Now, I'm going to do that here tomorrow, so it'll drop pretty soon.
So one last question, but the rest of them are mostly supportive, positive, and all that. And apologies, we couldn't get to all your questions. We like to answer them with detail. But James Stutz is asking, do you ever know John Stinson?
Yes. So I know Stinson very well, okay? I was just a kid in LA County Jail, and I was a worker, all right? And my job was down in 1700, 1750 to clean the pipe chases between the cells. And the cop would just take me down there, our boss, and he'd lock me in there, all right? So guess what? The vents that I was cleaning, John's. And for a long time, I was that guy in that county jail taking his shit from that vent, bringing shit back to him, passing and doing everything. So needless to say, nobody would touch me. And I was just a kid, but that was my job, and I fell into it. And that's where I first got to know John.
Well, maybe we do a video on something like that, about who you know, like older dudes you know and all that stuff.
Well, I can take you all the way back to Dean Lakey and Bobby Butler. I can take you back to Folsom, Shoot 2-1 building. Joe Morgan was my neighbor.
Oh, right. we got to do a video.
Now, bro. People didn't call him Peg Leg, but he was my neighbor, and actually somebody tried to cross me up with him. I was still a young kid. They almost did, but you know what? And Joe was a very intelligent dude. He seen what was going on, and I'll tell that story.
Yeah. Like we said, we got a lot of never before seen, heard stories. Just stay tuned.
And you know what? And I need you to hit like, subscribe, hype. Hit all the good switches, man, and help us out. You're helping out a nonprofit that trickles down and moves on to helping even your homeboys get out of prison, but not just get out of prison, because my programs change people. You're gonna have a different individual getting out and giving back to society instead of taking from them and making people proud. All right, guys, it's been good.